I got into Final Fantasy back in 2009 after I played Super Mario RPG on the Wii Virtual Console. Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time, but that was not the case until I beat it in 2011. You see, I borrowed the 1998 PC version of the game from a friend. Yeah, the version with the butchered MIDI soundtrack that you had to customize yourself. Anyway, but I couldn't finish it because the game kept crashing at a certain point. Yeah, the CD was not in the best condition, so I could not continue playing. I finally beat it in 2010 or 11, I can't remember which year, but I borrowed my brother's PS3 because I had the Wii and Xbox 360 at this time and played through Final Fantasy 7 and 8. 7 may have been the first game in the entire series that I played, but the first numbered Final Fantasy that I beat was 13 on the Xbox 360. I said numbered, didn't I? Well, the first Final Fantasy I beat was actually a spin-off game, and that is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, which will be the focus. My goodness, has it really been 10 years since I've played this? I remember buying a PSP for this game and I remember loving it. It's a shame I sold this thing because at that time I was in school doing extracurricular activities, so I didn't really have time for a job to make, money, but I still had to ask for games for Christmas and on my birthday. But 10 years later, does Crisis Core still hold up? Well, let's find out. Crisis Core is an action RPG. You play as one character the entire game, and it's Zack. You attack in real time, block, dodge roll, and even cast spells. 10 years ago, I beat this game on normal. For this review though, I played 10 hours of the game on hard, but then restarted on normal. Though it has New Game Plus, which would make hard mode easier, but before I talk about that, let me talk about this game's unique feature. Well, actually before that, you have HP for health, MP for casting spells via materia, and AP for dodge rolling. Okay, so this game's unique feature, the Digital Mind Wave, aka the DMW. It is a slot machine related to Zack's thoughts and emotion. You have character portraits and you have numbers. While you're in combat, certain number combinations can give you buffs such as no MP costs, invincible to attacks, and so on. The character portraits, once two faces match up, the game itself will pause and go into modulating phase. If three faces match up, you get to perform a special move called a limit break. Or occasionally summons will show up, and if three summons match, you will summon a monster. And my gosh, the summons look awesome. If numbers match up during this phase, either you will level up your materia or you yourself will level up. Now, I don't mind this for buffs, limit breaks, or summons. I mean, the developers put this in because of two Square Enix's higher-ups. They love pachinko slot machines. However, I don't agree with the implementation of this mechanic completely. Playing on hard mode allowed me to see what I disagreed. You see, in other RPGs, you level up by defeating enemies, gaining experience points, and once you've got enough experience points, you level up. This game though, you level up because of the slot machine. Oh look, hey, I leveled up. I'm someone who hates those luck-based mini-games at Mario Party, so having something like this to level up... Oh look, I leveled up again. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what goes on in the background of the DMW, but when I did a bit of research, I heard there is an invisible XP counter, but... Hey look, I went up another level. I've also seen that people have leveled up 3 times back to back, which has happened to me too, so I'm not sure what kind of variables go on in the background of the DMW. However, I do feel a sense of joy and even get sucked into the game when it levels me up, but honestly, I don't really like this way of leveling up. Well, I like it when it levels me up, but relying on it is a different story. Again, I don't mind it for buffs, limit breaks, and summons. In fact, sometimes I think it's pretty generous depending on Zack's mood. Not to mention, it'll never cast poison, death, or anything else to hinder you. But for leveling up the character though, it seems unpredictable to me. In other RPGs, I feel rewarded after I work towards leveling up when I grind for experience points. Not to mention, other RPGs tell me the amount of experience points I need to level up. But this game, based on my experience, and suppose that there is an invisible XP counter in the background, but to me it still seems to level up whenever it feels like, and that's one of the reasons why I restarted this game on normal for this review. That, and I was progressing through the story pretty slowly. Like in the first hour of playing on hard mode, I died about 5 times. I mean, I've played hard games before, such as Cuphead and Zelda 2. While some games I don't mind doing a hard level over and over again, well, that depends on what genre it is, but in RPG, there's typically a story to be told, and because of that, I tend to go, come on, let's get a move on. So hard, I find it too hard unless you're doing New Game Plus. It's not just get good, it's get good and get lucky. So how's normal mode? It's a total cakewalk. On normal, I died only twice in my playthrough for this review. One time, I was doing a rematch with Bahamut during one of the missions, but even then, I had the Phoenix Feather, which works like Fairy in Zelda. It brings you back to life when you die, and man, I pretty much had one over my head the entire time I was playing on normal. The other time was when Sephiroth pushed me off the edge, and that was pretty much the only time I made use of blocking. And the final boss I beat on my first try. Okay, so I've been rather critical of this game so far, but don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed it. I still think it's one of the best Final Fantasy spin-off games, but this is meant to be constructive feedback. Sometimes you gotta give tough love for something to improve, and trust me, there's always room for improvement. Final Fantasy VII may be my favorite game of all time, but when I review the remake, I'm going to be even more blunt. As far as side content goes, there are some activities around Midgar and the slums, such as finding Wutai spies, picking up materia as fast as you can, sniping machines, and my personal favorite, the 7 Wonders in Nibelheim. There are side missions in this game, but I much prefer the activities I just mentioned, because they are unique mechanically speaking. I really like this puzzle in Shinra Manor because it is a nod to the original game. Okay, now for the missions. There are about 300 of them, but I've only done about 7% of them. They're pretty much a means of grinding and earning rewards. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy earning rewards and leveling up, but these are mostly killing enemies over and over again. I do like the combat, but I want side content that's creative and not just killing stuff, you know what I mean? I really hope in the Final Fantasy VII Remake that side quests are creative mechanically and story-wise. I really enjoyed playing this game, despite the DMW to me not sounding like a good idea on paper, but the developers made it work. I may not have sounded too enthusiastic about a slot machine being a critical game mechanic, but don't get me wrong. I applaud the developers for thinking outside the box because that's what I like about Final Fantasy in general at the end of the day. Now, how is the story, audio, and presentation?